Today is December 31st, 2018, and I am in Tessin, hiking towards Cristallina Pass. I'm at 2,200 meters, and I have to get to 2,530 or 67 meters. And the plan is that I want to spend New Year's Eve at that altitude at a cabin called Cristallina Hütte. I tried to make it here for Christmas as well, and I couldn't. I actually turned back because the weather for Christmas was really bad, and I was very cold and very weak, and I started getting leg cramps. So I turned back from 2,100 meters, and yeah, I went home. But now for New Year's Eve, it looks like the weather is cooperating. It's sunny. It's not very cold. It's -5 degrees Celsius. The snow is extremely well packed. For Christmas, this was all powder. And powder is very hard to walk on, especially without skis. So I'm very grateful for the new kind of snow, and especially for the sun. So that's the cabin up there. That's where we have to get. It's still about maybe 2 kilometers to get there. So we're not out of the woods yet. Just look how beautiful it is behind us. If the weather stays like this, then I think it will take another hour maybe. If not, maybe a bit longer. But at this point, I'm not worried at all. There are two guys in front of me. Oh shit, I lost the glove. It's now 4 o'clock and I made it to the cabin, and this is what the Cristallina Valley looks like in the sunset. And just wanted to show you, this is the place. But more importantly, I wanted to show you, while I still can, sort of the view towards the west particularly. So there is Cristallina Peak, which I might attempt tomorrow. The snow is incredibly hard packed, and I broke one of my snowshoes, so I'm gonna see if I can duct tape it together. And I was considering bringing crampons, and I decided against it, and now I feel really bad, so I'm gonna see tomorrow morning if I can borrow some crampons from someone. And right there is, whoops, Colma that I would also like to attempt tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. And down there in that valley is Lagos Fundão, and I think it is some sort of accumulation lake for a power plant, but I'm not sure. I think it has a drain somewhere underneath, because there's water piping into it, but I couldn't see any obvious drain when I went there in September, so it must be draining through a tunnel somewhere underneath. Whoops. I thought that guy... Oh, he does go to the cabin. Bye bye 2018. See you next year. So I just wanted to show you where I turned back from last week. So this is the furthest that I made it last week, and I came from Airolo, which is there somewhere, maybe like, but when you go down that valley all the way down to the road, then you do another 7 kilometers like this. That's where Airolo is, but I came through the woods through there, so I didn't come on the road. And I already was starting to feel a bit weird about the whole thing down at the Cristallina farm, which is there, which is closed for the winter because obviously there's snow everywhere. But it was about there along the trail, which is about halfway to the hut, that I thought maybe this weather isn't going to work out so well. And but I persisted. I ate some glucose and I persisted and I made it here. And here I was faced with climbing that slope. You can go either way. You can go through there or through there to get into the other valley to go up to the hut. And then I thought, I don't think I'm going to be able to do 4 kilometers in this kind of weather, because the snow wasn't like today. Like today is like super hard packed. But yeah, like last week, all of this was powder, and luckily it snowed afterwards and then it froze, so then it became possible to walk on it. But this was all like flour, and I was sinking quite hard, and I had a really hard time walking. And I thought, and I could see there was like this mass of clouds and snow that was overspilling into this valley over that ridge, and I thought, I don't even want to imagine like what's up there. And so I turned back around here. By this point I had done maybe 9 kilometers or more. Yeah, about 9 kilometers in really bad conditions. And as you can see, so I wasn't so sure about this slope either, and I don't know if the contrast is strong enough for you to see, but that avalanche that wasn't there a week ago, and it came loose from somewhere up there. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I was already in fairly dangerous territory, and I didn't want to push it further. And obviously, like, this avalanche came down at some point, so so I turned that, and it was almost 1 o'clock. It was 12:30. Sunset is at 4:45, I think it was last week. Now I think it's 5 because we're past the winter solstice. And I thought either I just about make it, so doing like 1 kilometer an hour through the blizzard, or I make it on the news, and neither prospect sort of appealed to me, so I went back. But nonetheless, it was an interesting trip. It was actually a pretty trip. I wonder what's the best way. Okay, let's go this way. So I definitely don't regret trying, and I definitely think I made the right choice turning back. So one of the more important things about being on the mountains, particularly when you're alone, is sort of knowing, continuously assessing the weather and the terrain and the conditions, and knowing when you're supposed to go back. And I did just that, even though I was very close to the end and to the cabin, and I'm very proud that I did it. It shows that I sort of have it convinces me that I sort of have the good judgment to make these kinds of calls, at least in scenarios like the one that I was through. So that's pretty good. And yeah. One of my snowshoes got broken and I had to patch it up with duct tape. They're not extremely necessary in this kind of snow, but if it had been softer, it would have been impossible to walk without the snowshoes. Besides, the crampons are quite useful, so. But anyway, there's a bunch of duct tape stuck on the crampons of the snowshoe to keep them from falling off my boot. And because of that, I'm trying not to go too hard because I don't want to stop here and start patching equipment. But I just wanted to show you the avalanche up close. So the thing with avalanches is when they start out in powder or in very soft snow, and they accelerate very quickly, and they get all this speed, and then eventually they stop. And when they stop, all that kinetic energy that got released during the flow of the avalanche melts the snow, and when it stops, it freezes solid. So this is basically cement, unlike the powder that it started out as up there. So this is super hard packed. And yeah, if you get caught in one of these, if you don't break anything, most people like break a leg or something, but if you don't break anything, it's very hard to dig yourself out. It's almost impossible. So a lot of people like get suffocated or die of hypothermia because they cannot set themselves free from the avalanche. So yeah, let's walk this way. But now it's super safe. Like now there's no danger because I can tell that this snow is frozen solid to the ground. Like, so it's not gonna come loose anytime soon.